Okay, hello everyone. We are live. Thank you for joining us for today's workshop all about metrics. So I don't want to bore you for too long, just a couple of housekeeping notes as usual. As always, we are recording today's session. So if you get disconnected at any point, you can come back to the exact same URL that you're on now, and you'll be able to watch the recording back. I'm going to flash up our brief disclaimer, and then I'm going to hand it over to our host, Nick, for the session. As always, as well, you can feel free to ping us in the chat. We have a couple of support team members helping us out there, and we'll be looking out for questions throughout the session. So without further ado, I'm going to get out of the way and let Nick take it away.
Thank you, Miles. Hello, everyone. Yep, so today's session is all about metrics, which we released just a couple of weeks ago, or rather an upgrade to metrics that we released a few weeks ago. So I'm going to be one of the folks talking here. I'm joined by Tinkara, the main engineer behind the metrics upgrade. So she's going to walk you through a few things here as well. And Derek is online and going to be ready to answer some of your questions as well and ready to come on stage whenever necessary. So what today is not about. Today is really not about kind of a general town hall kind of format where we do company updates and roadmap and upcoming stuff. That's really not what this is about. This is about a deep dive into metrics specifically. And for everything else, please, of course, as a reminder, do join our bi-weekly town halls, and there will actually be a slightly, I think, off schedule one coming up next week, where we dive into basically the year in review and what Hospitable has done, and what you have been doing, how well you've been doing over the past year. Tune into that. It should be a pretty good one. So with that out of the way, let's talk about metrics. So today we will talk about a few things. One, we will show you a few examples that we've seen in the wild of how hosts like you are using the metrics upgrade. We'll show you some dashboards and some examples of things that are working, plus things that we're seeing that maybe could be done slightly differently or better. Maybe there's some confusion that we're seeing that we want to address here as well. We'll also kind of briefly cover again some of the pre-built dashboards that come out of the box with the new metrics experience. And yeah, we'll show you the different visualization types that are on offer, how filtering works, and basically how you're able to make the new metrics experience your own, as well as a note on a reminder on who has access to what in this new metrics experience. So before diving into some examples, please ask away in the Q&A, so in the chat, any questions that you have about the new metrics features, anything that might be confusing, or if you're new to it, you have no idea how any of this works, or something was not working, or you have a feature request, any of those things, please ask away in chat. And once we get through the kind of the first section, what we'll do is we'll dive into your questions and start answering them live. Hopefully, in many cases, actually showing you the product in real time to answer your question. Cool. Okay, so first up, I want to give you an example of a dashboard in metrics that somebody set up as a kind of high-level summary of what their portfolio kind of looks like, right? And so we have the pre-built dashboards. They're called Overview, Quality, Revenue Manager, and there's also a mogul-specific one as well. But here somebody went in and actually created a new dashboard with that button on the left that you can see, Create Dashboard. And they just added some of their things that matter to them. In this case, it was revenue, base rate revenue, and I think a few other variations below. The reason I wanted to bring this up here is because it is very simple for you to do your own thing. You can create a dashboard that is separate from the ones that come pre-built, and you can add widgets to them. We'll show you how a bit later. Tinkara will kind of share her screen. And yeah, you can add to them whatever you want. So whatever makes sense to you, go for it. Like there's no real downside to trying it out. No, there's no risk. Nothing will break. It's up to you to try it out. So that's the first thing I wanted to get started with. It's very easy to create something that makes sense for you. Very similarly, we saw someone have a very simple, but like very kind of to the point dashboard where they just added 3 things and nothing else. Very high level. one thing you can see is the date range that they chose is this current year, the entire current year, and it's across all their properties. And what they're seeing is just the revenue period for that entire year, the average guest rating across their entire portfolio for this entire year, and the number of reservations. And so to them, this is what mattered as like a very high level snapshot of how their property management business is doing, right? Next, what we saw somebody else do was actually create a dashboard for setting, what are essentially revenue targets. And what we see here is a dashboard. The name doesn't really matter, but like the end part of it is a particular monetary figure. In this case, 3,500, whether that's dollars or euros or pounds, doesn't matter. And the nice thing is that they can then kind of very quickly see, are they meeting that figure or not? They just went in and customized their dashboard name to a figure that mattered to them. And then at a glance, they can see, does that revenue exceed, match, or fall short of those expectations? A very cool use of the dashboard feature. This might make sense for you as well. Next, if you attended our last town hall where we talked about metrics, one of the things we mentioned was the ability to, like we said, spin up dashboards very quickly and being able to kind of show the same set of metrics, but across different properties. So in this case, that's exactly what this host has done. They went ahead and took every single one of their properties and created a dashboard for each of them. And very likely what they did was they set up one dashboard for one property, and then they used a duplicate option in the menu in the top right that's available. We can show that a bit later as well in a demo, to recreate that, but set the actual, Miles, remind me, can I draw on screen? I should have asked that earlier. Don't remember. Maybe not, this would have been easier with drawing. No, Miles is saying no. Okay, so you can see in the kind of top of the screen, you can filter down by what property you want this dashboard to look at. And that's exactly what this host has done. One dashboard, one property. And then they duplicated this setup and just changed the property on every single one of those dashboards, so that like with one click, they have access to metrics for one particular property at a glance. This is yet another way of kind of laying out your metrics experience to suit you. One more example, I won't spend too much time on this. Yeah, somebody wanted just an overview specifically looking at taxes, where they looked at revenue, pass-through taxes, and taxable revenue kind of as three widgets. However, one of the things I wanted to zoom in here was maybe something that is actually a bit confusing to some hosts when they're using the new metrics experience, which is you can actually see the name of this dashboard being revenue and taxes by month, right? And the bar chart that you see is indeed showing October, November, December, and the two forward-looking months. However, the two metrics above, they are single numbers. Those aren't broken down by month. Those are overall aggregates over the entire date range that is being used for this dashboard. And so that might be one point of confusion as we're kind of going through feedback that we're receiving from hosts, not being clear on some of the numbers, in that when you're looking at these single values, like the top two in the screenshot, those aren't broken down in any way. Those are aggregate over the entire date range. So for example, if you've set the default one that comes out of the box, which is 2 months before, current month, 2 months ahead, it will look at that entire date range to give you the final number. In this case, like the total revenue, right? So that's one thing to keep in mind. There's a difference between the underlying data for the single value metrics and the bar chart metrics, right? Next, this is a little hard to see, but one thing I wanted to highlight is that we provide the ability for you to not only customize the date range for a dashboard and then save it so that it's always kept the same afterwards, but also customize the date range in each metric card or widget. Um, Meaning your dashboard can look at, for example, the entire year, but you can have maybe one or two metrics inside it that are customized to look at just the past 3 months, right? Or just the past month. And this is powerful, but it also can be a bit confusing if you're maybe sometimes not paying close attention to the dates not being quite what you expect. So you might be setting up the dashboard to look at just different date ranges across all of the different metrics inside it. So like every widget has its own date range. But then when you come back to it later, you're looking at the dashboard's date range at the top, and it might be a mismatch between that and the actual widgets. Sorry, that's a lot of information. This will be easier to see when we actually demo it. But the point is that pay attention, please, to where you're customizing the dates that you're looking at in metrics, whether that's on the dashboard level, which should apply to all metrics underneath, or an individual metric within the dashboard if you have a good reason for that specific one to be a different date range. We'll get into this later as well. One more thing. We saw an example of somebody creating a dashboard with just one widget. Now, they might have been just trying something out just to see how things work. However, this is a metric, revenue excluding cleaning fees, that probably fits in well into one of the other dashboards, for example, the overview dashboard, which comes out of the box. You are free to customize those. We're not stopping you from adding or removing metrics from one of the dashboards that we have already provided for you, like I said, the overview one, quality, and so on. You can add your metrics to those as well and customize them. So you don't need to basically create dashboards with just a few metrics in them just because you think that the existing dashboards should not be touched. That's not the case. They're there for you to use and abuse if you so want to. Next, this is a good example of somebody using different dashboards to represent different date comparisons. So somebody wanted to see what is the last month's data like and what is the current month's data like. And so they created two different dashboards to look at the same metrics underneath, but for different date ranges. So this is something that we talked about in the metrics town hall, and also just a few slides ago came up with what you saw, somebody using dashboards to represent different properties. Here, someone is using dashboards to represent different date ranges, right? And so that's basically one-click access to a different date period that you want the data to come from. Again, a different way of showing this. However, there's one point that I want to mention here that we saw. Again, a little hard to see because it's maybe small on the screen. You can see these filter overrides, and this is what shows up when you customize any given metric widget with a specific set of filters that is different from what is on the dashboard level itself. However, here what's happened is, and we don't restrict this, and this is something for us to be kind of to figure out the interface in a better way. What's happened here is you can see that the metrics, the individual widgets, are set to the previous date range, as in, first November to 30th November, so like this the previous month. However, that is exactly what the dashboard is set to. So there was some misunderstanding that you don't like where the date range, like filtering should be set. So in most cases, you shouldn't need to actually set a different date range on the widgets themselves. You can do this on the dashboard level. You probably will do more work than necessary to customize the dates on every widget if you do kind of what we're seeing here. Something else. Well, this is yeah, I won't go too deeply into this. I just wanted to show you. We've seen examples of people having really a lot of dashboards, and that's fine. That is completely fine. You create as many or as little as you need to kind of represent your story, your particular hosting scenario, and whatever data you want. Whether that's 20 dashboards, if that makes sense for you, or it's just 2 custom dashboards, is perfectly fine. And one last one. This is kind of a way to show like we're seeing the feature requests basically embedded in how hosts are already trying to use metrics. Here, somebody created a dashboard called weekly check. And the implication is that they wanted to go in, probably, this is an assumption on our part, kind of seeing this data. But what makes sense is it's named this way to be able to go in on a weekly basis to see how they're performing, right? So it's just something that you need to check in once a week, see if everything's okay, or compared to what it was before. What this tells us actually is that there is obviously space for us to create some kind of alerting mechanism or like a digest, like report mechanism that can be sent to you on a weekly basis, showing you exactly this. What is a snapshot of your metrics data once a week delivered, for example, to your inbox or something like that, maybe in PDF format. Rather than you having to actually go into the interface yourself and remind yourself to go in there. So that is to say, please let us know what you want to see in the new metrics experience. That's partly why the session is live today, so we can get some insights from you live, but also we will have I think a slide a bit later with a QR code where you can leave feedback and give us insights into how you want to use metrics. What data is missing that you're not finding now? What ways of interacting with metrics? Like I mentioned just now, for example, alerting, that's not there now, but would be useful to you. Please let us know. We are definitely listening. Okay, so that's the kind of static portion, the lecture side of today's presentation. We do want to go into Q&A and start picking out questions that you're asking. Tinkara, if you've maybe seen something in the chat that we can pull.
Yeah, I think you can go to the next slide first. So just so we clarify which subscriptions can use something.
Yeah, so when we rolled out the new metrics experience, some features were available to certain plans and not others. The pre-built dashboards that I was talking about, they're available across all plans, but not all dashboards. So as we announced in the town hall for the first time ever, host plan customers also have access to metrics now. They didn't before. So they have access to an overview dashboard, which has, quite frankly, quite a lot of rich data in there already. But professional tier and mogul customers have access to a few more pre-built dashboards that we provide out of the box, including quality, which is like issue alerts, reviews, like review tags, stuff like that, as well as messaging. So like how your team is performing in the inbox, stuff like that. Only professional mogul tier customers can customize dashboards, which means adding new metrics to dashboards, creating new dashboards. And coming soon, this is something that we teased also last time. We wanted to get this in, but we didn't manage on time. We're going to have a very deep integration with Copilot within metrics, so that if there's something that is not there right now and you have a need for a very custom kind of formula or something like that, you'll actually be able to ask it. You'll be able to ask the AI to create it for you, and it will be added to your dashboards as if it's just another metric that we had built for you. So look for that sometime soon. I can't commit to a date just yet, but this is a breakdown of kind of the differences between the different plans and what they have in metrics. And one thing to note, if you've used the old metrics experience, it hasn't gone away. I know that was one point of confusion to some customers. It is still there. So on desktop, you have the exports dashboard in the sidebar when you go to metrics, that is the old metrics experience, because we didn't have a good way to quickly expose data exporting in kind of our new interface. So the old metrics is still there under the exports tab. And if you're doing this on mobile, which is I think where some folks also got confused, because on mobile you have just the one metrics kind of icon at the bottom of the screen, and kind of it shows that it's almost like no other thing available. There are the 3 dots in the top right corner in the app when you're viewing metrics. If you click on that, you have access to all the other dashboards. So like even there, the old metrics experience hasn't gone away. On mobile, you can access that with the 3-dot menu when you're viewing metrics. Okay. So with that.
Okay, we've covered a couple of questions. I think I can mark them as answered, right? So we can clean this up a bit.
So Tinkara, maybe can you share your screen and show metrics? I'm going to start bringing some questions up on screen that we can quickly go through. So yeah, Antonella asked which subscription can use it. That's what we just covered. So there's a slight difference between which subscriptions can use what, but generally speaking, everyone has access to some form of metrics now.
Yep. Okay, I'm sharing my screen. Do we need to switch?
Yeah, there we
This
go.
is the first time that we're using this, so be patient with us. Okay, should we just start at the top?
Well, so hang on. Let's do a couple of things. So I'm just working down through a list, and well, Laura asked, what's the difference between manual and direct bookings? That's a very general question, not related to metrics, but I think it's worth answering because some folks might not be aware, because some folks are new to Hospitable even. Direct bookings are those that come through a website where you take bookings directly rather than through an OTA such as Airbnb, Booking.com, and Vrbo, right? You might have your own website where where guests can book directly with you rather than a channel such as Airbnb. Those are direct bookings. Hospitable has a way for you to spin up a direct website very quickly. It's one of our products, but you might have your own website already. Manual bookings are those where you create that booking in the Hospitable calendar on your own. Those might be for owner staying, which we have a separate kind of support for, or from a channel that we might not support, or your own stay or whatever. So it's just like you interacting, placing a booking manually in the calendar. Those are manual bookings. Direct bookings, guests book on your website rather than Airbnb, for example. Oh, I think I needed to first do this. Yes, and then I can do this. Cool.
Okay.
So let's see. Renee says, I can't seem to change any date range. If I select custom, it will only allow me to select the check-in date, but not a range. Can we quickly show how to do this?
Yeah, so we've got these. So we've got some predefined date ranges, but you can also do a custom one. So for example, if I wanted to do, I don't know, October through December, well, missed one, but okay. So I just choose the dates, click apply, and we've got the custom date range.
So Tinkara clicked that fairly quickly, but basically.
Was that too fast? I'm going to be slower next time.
Yes, if you click on that again, yes. So if you click on the custom option here, then you can click on first date and then go to whichever next one you need to. So you might need to click through a few times to the month that you're interested in, and then click on the date in that month. And now you can see in green the entire dates range selected. You'll need to click apply at the bottom of that box, and then apply again in the top right corner for the dashboard itself to kind of apply this new date range. There's maybe a few more clicks that we are happy with, and we're working on improving the interface. In fact, if you've used already the new metrics, you might see that what we're seeing on screen now is a little different compared to what we launched with 2 weeks ago. And yeah, we're already making a few changes to try and clear up, clarify and clean up the interface. But yeah, hopefully that answers it. You should be able to change the date ranges, both on the dashboard level and on the widget level. In Takara, in fact, if you can quickly show what it looks like to change it on a widget level.
Oh, yep.
Yeah, so there's
we've got this
button there. Yep.
Widget button. Click the filter, and we pick whatever filter we want, in this case, date. So if I wanted to change a different custom default, so a different custom range, I can just do the exact same. So pick the start date, pick the end date, click apply. And we're going to see the dates chosen here. And then I click apply filters here, and the custom filter override for this specific widget will be applied.
Perfect. Yeah, so basically, date selections should be working. Excuse me. If they're not, please reach out to support. Then it's a bug. But we've tested this quite a bit, and yeah, all these features should be working. So let's see. Wendy asks, the commissions report is only for Mogul, correct? That is correct. So there is a, I think, dashboard that we don't see here, but yeah, Mogul plans typically come with a pre-built dashboard specifically for property managers. I think it's called PMC dashboard.
PMC, yeah.
Yeah, and there are certain widgets. I think if you scroll down to the add widget box, we can actually see a selection of property management specific widgets under the owner statements category. Yeah, those are available specifically on the Mogul tier because that is where the owner statements functionality and commissions are actually set up. So yes, if you're on Mogul, you have access to more metrics related to commissions and so on. Mihail asks, can you mix currencies and be at least in the ballpark? What can we say about currencies in the current iteration?
So you can't actually mix currencies, but if you do have multiple currencies on the account, you can convert to each, like to whatever one you want. So it currently works the same as exports as the previous metrics. So we're going to convert it to based on today's conversion rate and show you the conversion rate as well. I can't show this on this account because this account only has USD. But yeah,
if you had multiple currencies on your account, for example, some properties are USD, some are in Canadian dollars, you would see in the top right of the dashboard, or I think
you'd see an indicator here on each of the widgets showing that there are currency rates applied. And if you clicked on the indicator, it's the same text as this. I mean, same format as this, and you would, if you hovered over it, you would see what conversion rates are applied.
So we don't mix currencies displayed within the metrics. Like you wouldn't see USD and Canadian dollars separately in the metrics. What you would see is, I think, what you're asking for, which is multiple currencies standardized to one currencies that you convert into, for example, Canadian dollars or US dollars, and that is what the metrics will contain. Data from everything, regardless of currency, but eventually converted to a single currency. So mixed, yes, but displayed separately, no. Let's see. Lance, I'm looking at Q&A as well. Lance asked, how do you change the order of widgets?
All right. Okay, I'm going to try to be slow this time. So you're going to see this 3 little dots here, the more menu. And if I click on it, I'm going to see 3 different options. And one of them is reorder widgets. And if I click into it, you'll notice that the dashboard goes into a kind of an edit mode. And you'll see these little arrows appear on the bottom of each one. And I can just click and move them around to whatever position I wanted to. So if I wanted the negative review text to be at the end, I can just move them around and switch the order. When I'm done, I click Save Order and the description. Okay, this is a bug.
We're debugging live.
We're debugging live, I guess. Yeah. Wait, let me do something else. Let me go to, okay, discard changes. I think I know what the issue is because we've just added descriptions today, and this is the one thing that I guess we haven't tested. But yeah, let's do it on this one. And so I've got the revenue first, If I move it around, I can like set it to the third place, click Save Order, and there you go. It works in this case. The revenue is now in the third place. So you can do you can change the order of any widget you want in this way.
Yep. So there's a menu reorder in the top right. Click it. Use the buttons side to side to change, and then save. Okay. Dan asks, do the dashboard date range supersede widget date ranges, or are they independent? So how did the two interact?
So they are independent of each other, but a widget filter will always override, take priority over a dashboard filter. So in this case, I can show an example. So here we've got the default date range, which is, by the way, it's the current month plus 2 months on either side. So it shows you a nice future and close future and recent past information. But if I wanted to, for example, see the guest review rating for this month only, I could do what we showed before with the custom date range. So yeah, I click the filter with the widget filters icon here. Pick the whatever filter I want, let's say date in this case, and say current month. Click apply. And we see that this changed to check-in December 1st to 31st. And if I apply filters, we see the guest review from December only. And I guess there's no reviews in this case yet.
So the answer really is, if you set a different date for the widget, that is what's going to take priority over the dashboard level. If you're changing things on the dashboard level, and I think at least right now, and you have had something custom set on a widget level, any changes to the dashboard won't affect that widget's custom date range. So the custom widget date range will always be more important, more higher priority than that dashboard level one. Hopefully that's clear. Let's see. Mike asks, I'm trying to set up a dashboard across 9 properties showing each metric per property. I keep getting a total sum for all properties. So can we quickly show what it looks like? And maybe Tinkara, create a new dashboard from scratch so we can show that process as well. So let's actually show what it looks like to have a dashboard where we do a breakdown by property so that we have individual numbers for each.
Yep. Okay, so creating a dashboard is super easy. You've got this button here. I'm going to click on it, create a dashboard. I didn't save the changes before, so that's what it's asking me to save unfiltered. It's telling me that I have unsaved filter changes. Those are the filter overrides, but we don't care about those right now. Okay, so a new dashboard was created, and let's add a widget.
Maybe revenue.
Revenue bar chart, yeah. I'm going to add this one in there.
So by default, this one is, for now, aggregated across all properties. But now if we add a grouping,
go to here.
And depending on how many properties you have, this might be a very busy chart. So you might want to break it up into multiple different charts. But here you can actually see the
comparison of revenue.
Yeah, the bar chart comparing revenue per month, per property.
Per property.
So it's broken down both by date and month. However, what might be also confusing, and where maybe this question is coming from, Mike, maybe add a extra note in the chat if that's the case. If you do a single value widget, we don't do this breakdown. This is not something that we support just now. So like if you're doing a breakdown by property, the single value one will not be broken down in the same way as this bar chart is. So that is
it will show the it's going to show the total value of all of the properties on all of the during the whole period. One note, something that might be useful. So yeah, like Nick said, this chart is very busy and it's really hard to see. And also, if we wanted to see what a different value was for what the revenue for one of these, 416B properties in November was, you need to hover over each and every one. And that's really time consuming and frankly annoying. So we've got this expand view option, and this brings this shows the chart over the whole screen. And if you scroll down a bit, underneath, you're also going to see the data in table format. So you can see the numbers directly from here for better clarity. And so you don't have to go over each and every one hover to see what the values were.
Yep, thanks for that. So yeah, every chart has this expand view to be able to give you both full screen experience to make maybe some charts easier to see, but also you get access to the underlying data to make it easier to kind of see the numbers. Yep. While we're here, can you click save? So unless you click save, any changes you make to a dashboard won't follow through to the next time you load the page. So if you've made some changes, but you don't click that save button, when you reload, you come back to metrics, you will still have the dashboard in its previous state, not in the kind of filter changes that you've made. So you do need to click that save button if you want it to save. Now, Eli asks, what's the difference between refresh and apply filters? It seems like I need to hit apply filters to refresh things. So those serve two different purposes. If Tenkara clicks refresh right now, what that does is it asks our system to use the current set of filters to fetch data again and display it fresh on the screen in front of you. So it is doing what I think refresh intuitively should mean. Just refresh the data with the current configuration of filters that you see in front of you right now. Apply is somewhat different. So if Tenkara then goes and maybe adds a different filter or changes the grouping, doesn't matter. So adds just a few properties to group by, right? And now apply needs to be clicked, that apply button after changing filters, to have this new configuration live for this dashboard in front of you. After this, you can click refresh and get fresh data in case it's actually changed. But refresh is only to get new data on the spot for the things you're looking at. In most cases, you won't need to, because when you come back later to view metrics, let's say tomorrow or the day after, you'll be getting fresh data anyway. You rarely actually need to use that refresh button. Apply is when you've changed filters and you want to see them. You want to see that data displayed with this new set of filters that you have in front of you. And then if you're happy with those, you want to keep them for later, click save.
And just a note that even the apply buttons should go away in the next week or so. We're going to start listening, like when you click a filter, we're going to try to apply it directly, automatically, so you won't even need to do anything.
Okay, Thomas asked, I own 3 properties and I manage 4 others. As the designers, what do you think is the most efficient way to see all of the data separately? Make custom dashboards for each owner? Can you walk me through quickly how that would be done? So we can do a few things here. So first, let me, I think I can take over screen briefly. Right, you should be seeing this instead of the Tenkara screen. So we showed you a few examples where on the left, where you have a bunch of blurred out ones, those are dashboards set up for specific properties. So each dashboard is one property. And for this host, this made sense. They wanted to see the data, those particular widgets for each property separately. You can do that. And I think I'll go back to, wait, how do I, there we go. Go back to the Tenkara screen. What you could do and how that can be represented here. So if Tenkara, yeah, go clicks on properties again, and selects which ones she cares about. In this case, just that one property, for example, right? And then apply filters.
Let's remove the grouping by month in this case, the by property, because we only have one.
Yeah, if you're doing
let's apply.
If you're doing just one property in a dashboard, you don't need a grouping. That doesn't make sense. So now you have a dashboard and you probably want to give it a name, whatever the property name is, for example, right? And so now you have a dashboard just for that one property, and you might add a bunch more widgets to it. We only have the 2 here so that we don't spend a lot of time, but If you're happy with your selection of widgets for that dashboard, and you want to do this for your other properties, let's say you have 7 or something in your portfolio, if you click on the little menu icon in the top right, you see a duplicate option there. So if Tinkara clicks on that now, we're in a few seconds recreating, oh, she had some unsaved changes. We're recreating the dashboard and the exact same metrics, the same widgets are displayed with the same filters as before. But now Tinkara goes in and changes the property filter to a different property. And so now you have 2 different dashboards. One is for one property, another dashboard for another property with the same metrics. And she'll rename it to the other property name to make it easier to spot what this is in the list of dashboards on the side. And so that's how you would set up dashboards per property. And you could do something like a dashboard for a set of properties. Like, for example, you have a larger portfolio and you want to see how your beachfront properties are performing, right? So you can either click on the properties filter, and if you know which ones you care about, no, if you go to properties first,
the properties,
right? Yeah, you might just select purely the ones from this list that you know are the beachfront properties, or you might have tagged them in the properties section of the app with something like a beachfront tag, right? And it might show up here, and you can just click on this tag. Tinkara, click on any of these. It doesn't matter for our purposes, right? And so now this is the tag, for example, beachfront, that will be used to pull in data just for those properties. And then you can rename this dashboard to beachfront. And now you'll have a dashboard representing just your beachfront properties. So you can either just select only the properties that you care about from the property list in the filters, or select a tag to filter on if you've done that. The other option is, because Thomas mentioned owners.
Owners, right?
Yep. We allow you to do that as well. So rather than selecting the property specifically, rather than doing by tags, if you have owners set up, you can actually use the owner tag here. We've blurred out the names for PII purposes, but yeah, from the owner dropdown, you select just the owner you care about, just to see their data. They might have maybe 2 or 3 properties, right? Click apply, and now you'll get data from the properties under that owner in your portfolio. And again, you do name it, maybe that owner's name or something like that, and you're done.
Okay. Looks like this owner doesn't have any revenue yet. Let's see if this one works.
That data range.
Yeah. Okay. This yeah, it looks like we don't have any data for these owners on this account.
I remember when we were looking at Brian's during the town
Yeah,
hall,
Brian's
he showed this exact thing, and he was showing us the owner breakdown. Okay, so that is that answered. Okay, let's see. Let's see. Alex asks, is it possible to see revenue just by day or by month? Not grouped by check-in date, but for example, how much revenue in this month? In the month, I think
we're working on it. Prorated revenue, not yet, but we are trying to find the best way how to show this.
Yes, by day, yeah, it requires us to do something slightly different. It's a bit more complex. That would require us to do prorated calculations of revenue and other metrics. We're not there yet. It's being worked on. So day by day is a bit harder. Although if we do have a, no, we don't. I'm saying something. I'm thinking of something.
No, because he means we're always looking at the check-in date. But yeah, that is something we're investigating.
But by month, yes, this is by default what happens. So we show data by month.
On bar charts.
On bar chart, yeah. Hopefully that answers your question, Alex. Yeah, if not, please send us another message in the chat. Let's see. Paula asks, is there a way to easily see year-over-year results by month per property so you can see how you're tracking each month? Yep, I think that's exactly what we showed just a moment ago, where we did a grouping by property. And I think if we do instead of by month.
What do you mean? So by property instead of by month, by year?
Yes.
We need, so use the current year filter then.
I think so, yeah.
Let's click.
And then we would see.
Check it by property, by year.
Then we should see.
Okay, this needs to be by month. So in this case, it is just showing the total in the year. So we need to have a grouping, so month by month.
But we don't have
breakdown.
a property breakdown anyway here. I'm wondering if that's a
Property,
bug or we didn't get to it yet.
That should be. This is just the regular revenue one.
There it is. Okay, so by month is fine.
Okay, let's see if it works this way.
So yeah, by property, by month, should be
this one
fine.
should work too. Okay, we need to look into this.
We did show that literally 5 minutes ago. So something.
Yeah, so I'm not sure why it's not
quite
working right now.
One of the joys of live demos and getting humbled
this is
by your own product.
Yeah. Oh yeah, always.
So the summary
Let's try
is,
it now.
yes, you should be able to see.
Okay, yeah, we need to look into this because we did just show it. I mean,
yes.
We can watch the recording back.
Yeah, we did show this 5 minutes ago where you had a property based breakdown. It should work. So we found a way to break it live. So we'll try to figure out why we broke it. Yes, both property and date breakdown should be working. Yeah. If not, it's a bug. Please ask support. We'll see it more often if you do so that way. But yeah, here we're gonna look into this afterwards. Okay, let's see. Maybe some things we can and cannot answer without looking a bit deeper. So is revenue total less the platform fees? What are we including in the actual revenue metric?
It is showing the fees. Yeah. We need to look a bit deeper. It's the same revenue that we show in the exports. So it should be including the fees as well.
Yeah, off the top of my head, it is including fees. It's all in revenue. I think it's not net anything because, for example, we have a separate like revenue net cleaning fees and separate things together with taxable. I think this is all in revenue, including platform fees. We would need to look into that. We're going to make a note about that. Just write it down now.
Yeah, we need to make sure that the descriptions are really clear so everyone knows what they're looking at.
Yes, and yeah, but that might be an interesting thing to include. Yeah, if you want revenue net platform fees, that might be something to do separately. Do we have a metric for platform fees on its own? No.
That's a nice one to add to the feature request.
Yeah. Okay. Eli asks, does taxable revenue now equate to taxable proceeds, factoring in discounts, not including pass-through taxes? The wording is odd since it seems like service fees are taken out, which would make it wrong. So do you remember the formula that we're using right now for taxable revenue?
It's just this revenue excluding any pass-through taxes, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see, taxable. Yeah, this is something we'll look into improving the descriptions here as well.
Yeah, I think this is the same case, again, top of mind, that we have with the previous question about revenue and platform fees. I think this is all in revenue minus pass-through taxes. I don't think service fees are taken out, but again, we'll look into that and clarify wording if that's not the case, and potentially create more metrics that have exactly what you're looking for. Okay. Let's see. What do I do if my account doesn't have the new metrics dashboard? Asks Victoria. First, to check what plan you're on. Can I do this? Oh yeah, I need to get rid of this first, like this. Okay, yeah. First, to check which plan you're on. If you are on a legacy plan, so you're not subscribed to Host, Professional, or Mogul tiers, you will not have access to the new metrics dashboard. This is only available for one of our current pricing tiers. Legacy does not have access to this. You would need to upgrade. But if you are on Host, Professional, or Mogul, you should be seeing this by default. If you're not, please reach out to support. There shouldn't be an issue with this at this point. So legacy, no. All other tiers, yes. If you see otherwise, please let us know. Let's see. Yeah, so Orange Cabins. One, I would really love to be able to set my own formulas for earnings breakdowns. And for existing widgets, show the formulas corresponding to the exports table to really lock down what we're looking at. Yep. So this is what Tenkara was talking about. First of all, with adding more clarity in terms of what each widget that you're looking at actually represents. We know we need to do a better job there anyway. And for the first one, we'd really love to be able to set the formulas. This is what we're working on with the Copilot integration. So there's only so much we can do to accommodate kind of every possible use case out there. And we'll try to handle the kind of 90–95% spectrum. For everything else, what you will be able to do sometime soon is use Copilot to specify exactly what kind of formula you're looking for, whatever custom calculation you need. It will create a metric for you on the spot and add it to your dashboard. And then it will live in perpetuity there for you to come back to, refresh, filter, do breakdown on, and so on, just like with the metrics that you have pre-built. So custom is coming. More clarity about the exact formulas is also coming. Yeah. Let's see. So Wendy early on asked, I missed this. I can't find revenue per property. I think we can very quickly show this again. Oh, can we? Because this was what was
maybe
acting
that's
up
why
just
she
now.
can't find it. Yeah. We're good. Yeah, it definitely should be here. So if you did a grouping by property, the revenue chart should show you all of the properties side by side with the revenue, and the expand view should show a table view of the earnings. So yeah, we need to look into this to make sure that this doesn't happen.
So that's maybe actually brings up something that is good to clarify here. So this bug that we found live aside, there are two things that you can see kind of in the filter section, right? You can add filters and then you can specify properties, but you can also do a breakdown. And maybe some of the confusion is actually in thinking that just by selecting properties, you can just see separately what each revenue per property is. No, you have two choices. One is, as we showed you some minutes ago, you use the group by button and then select by property, like Tenkara is showing you here, and that should give you a representation of the graphs broken down by each property over time and showing you, for example, the revenue for each of those properties on the graph. The other option is you create, as we also showed you a few minutes ago, a different dashboard where you then add a filter for just one property. And then that dashboard is kind of a representation of all the data for that one property. And you have the revenue showing just for that property, and then another dashboard for another property. The third way is you can make, so Tenkara, if you can add another bar chart for revenue, the same one as the one above. Okay. So what you can do is for each of those, one of them, you add a filter for one property, For the other bar chart, you add a filter for another property.
So the same as with the date filters. You click on the widget filters button and then pick whatever you want here. So in this case, let's do a different property. So let's do 416B. And I click apply.
Okay, so that widget is now refreshing with data for just that one property, regardless of what the dashboard is configured as. And now if we scroll up to the other widget, and now we filter this one by a different property.
So this one's already filtered by 4106, but we can, we can do a different property, filter property, and let's do 416C. Click apply.
Mm-hmm. So this is the other way of doing this, where if you have one dashboard that has multiple properties, but different metric widgets for example, each of your properties that you care about. So you have options for how you want to represent this, and this can matter like what you're looking at a glance, whether you want like really detailed metrics for each property and in one place, or you want to split all of this out into its own dashboards. It's up to you. You have options. A lot of options is not always the best thing because you might get lost. But we do want to show you what you are able to do here, so you know where to look. So let's see. Eli asks, thank you for the questions, Eli. Very, very active. Where do you set the property grouping? You keep saying I have no grouping when I have definitely set up my properties under operations business. Where do you set the property grouping? If you mean the breakdown that we showed you previously, where one revenue chart shows multiple properties, this is in where Tinkara is showing now. There's no grouping. If you click on that, you select by property, and you hit apply. And again,
and this, yep. Let's see. Oh, in this case, it is showing. I mean, it's only showing one property because we're filtering to one property only. So if we remove these, so let's remove these filters here.
yeah, if you clear that one.
And to clear this one as well. And click apply.
Yeah,
there might just be way too many
we found a way
right
to break
to break it. Yeah,
we're not sure how. But let me find a slide. Maybe I can. Did I have one or somebody? I think we did have one, didn't we? No, we didn't. But the summary is that button next to the date range in the dashboard. It's group. You're able to group by. You select property, or I think by default label is no grouping. You select by property. You apply that, and then you should.
be seeing side by
whatever it is that's going on here, you should see properties on your screen on each widget. Okay, that's it for Q&A. Let's see anything in public chat. Dan asks, let's see, can we do this? Yes. Can the filtered values be dynamically added to a subtitle in the chart via embedded variable? So revenue. Oh, as in whatever filters we've got set. Whatever filters we've got set, somehow show that in the chart itself. I think that can get busy very quickly if we wanted to add those. Maybe what we could do is in the, if you click expand view, Tinkara, maybe in the expanded view, we can do a much better job of showing the actual applied filters as they are kind of live by both taking into account the dashboard and the widget filter overrides. I think we can probably do a better job here to show like exactly the filter values that are there. Hopefully that's what you had in mind. If not, please, yeah, Dan, correct. Okay, yeah. Yeah, but actually showing that somehow on hover, like all the possible filter values, that might be a bit too much, like on the actual data points when you're hovering over the chart or like in the legend somewhere. But here, yeah, I think it might make more sense. There's more real estate here. Let's see.
Oh, Wendy. Oh, you
Hang
have a
on.
different one. Okay.
Yeah, Maribel asked, what is the advantage of looking at data in these dashboards versus price labs? Derek, if you can chime in, that'd be great, but I can get started. Well, one is if we have all the data available in Hospitable, I think it would be great that you have just one place to go to get everything you need rather than have to jump between multiple platforms. If you have something that you're getting in Price Labs data that you're not getting in Hospitable, that is fine. If you have a better way of representing your data in Price Labs, again, that is fine. However, we'd love to hear that because we'd love to improve the metrics product as it is now to have everything for you in one place. Eli, I do hear you. Taxable revenue, yes. Things like that are indeed on our roadmap. They're coming. So all your feature requests, we are hearing them. We just need to prioritize them and get through them.
I think it's a great
Eric.
question. I mean, I also think not all the data that's in Hospitable is available in Price Labs, like sentiment tags. There's a whole bunch of stuff. So when it comes to revenue, there's a lot of that in Price Labs, but I think there's just a lot more data in Hospitable. So, certainly you can switch between both of those. But I think you'll find that Hospitable have the full data set.
Yep. Thanks, Derek. Let's see. So we're actually, I think, at time. Let me see if there's one more that I can quickly answer. But while I search, what I do want to point to is, oh no, how do I dismiss this? There we go. Yeah. So we have a link, Miles or Tinkara, if you can share the link in chat, hsptp.com/widget requests, or scan the QR code. So that's a deep link directly to a page where you can upvote or add new requests for any missing metrics that you want to see based on what you've seen today, based on what you've played around with. We'd love to hear about it. If you see something that somebody else has written, upvote it. Chances are we might be able to get to it faster if we see a lot of people upvoting it. And so maybe one last one. Let me see if I can squeeze it in. Oh, Tinkara, if you're sharing, actually, no, let me very quickly go back here. So one thing, again, to reiterate, is on charts. So the bar charts, the main primary color bars, those are the data that you're looking at right now in the date range that you've chosen. And then you have this line that's overlaid. And that line represents that same data, but from the previous year. So we automatically overlay a comparison of year over year, basically performance between the current date range that you're looking at and the previous year in that same date range, without like having to set up different dashboards or different widgets to look at those kind of year over year comparisons. So that might be something subtle that you might miss. Okay, I think we call it here. We are over time now. Miles, if you want to.
Cool.
Outro?
Yeah, I can help finish things off. Yeah, so thank you everyone for joining, for everyone that stuck around. Yeah, as always, if you do have any more questions for Tinkara and Nick, you can scan this QR code and head to our community. As always, just go to community.hospitable.com. Feel free to ask questions for others, for the team, but also there's plenty of other hosts in there as well. So it's always interesting to see how they're using the metrics dashboards and that kind of thing. So yeah, without further ado, thank you very much to Tinkara and Nick as well for doing the hosting. And thank you very much to the audience.
I'll squeeze in last one. So Matt asked, can owners create their own dashboards? Not right now, but integration between owners portal and metrics, a much deeper integration is coming where you'll be able to share metrics with owners. That is definitely coming. That's on our roadmap. Yep. And with that, Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, we'll
Thank
end it there,
you.
folks.